News alert.
The helicopter was just working on these power lines. It hit the power line, blew up. There was a pilot, there was a worker. The helicopter blew up and fell and crashed in that barge, and it's exploding right now.
First here at 4, 2 people are dead this afternoon after a helicopter crashed over the Mississippi River in Alton, Illinois. It's a story you saw first right here on First Alert 4 at noon. We're glad you're with us. I'm Cameron Bopp. We want to get right out to our Corey Stark, who's heading up our live team coverage from Alton this afternoon. Corey, just a stunning, tragic incident and still plenty of questions, too.
Cam, no doubt. A lot of questions in this that hopefully the NTSB and FAA can answer in their investigation. I'm going to get into the details of this helicopter crash in just a moment, but first I want to let you know where I'm standing at this point. We're on the east side of the Mississippi River, just south of the Melvin Price Lock and Dam. And that witness that you heard from at the top of the newscast described this really so well. If you take a zoom in behind me with the camera, you can see that tall electrical tower. Well, it's that group of lines that the witnesses tell us that that helicopter and those contract crews were working on when one of the lines made contact with that group of wires, or with one wire, exploded in the air, and then a helicopter came crashing down to the barges right below. This is more of what we know at this point. This all happened just after 11 a.m. when authorities were called about a helicopter crash on the Mississippi River near the Lock and Dam. And you can see this is not far from the Clark Bridge, which was completely shut down to traffic for a while today. And as I mentioned, both the FAA and NTSB are working to find out exactly what happened. FAA investigators are on the scene right now. The NTSB will be on the ground tomorrow, we're told. We know Amron contractors were repairing and replacing tower lighting and marker balls at the time of this crash. 2 people on board the helicopter were killed, and authorities do not believe there was anyone on the barge when that helicopter came down crashing onto the barge. Now, I want to bring in our Russell Kinsaw, who has been on this scene, the first to report from this scene today. You've been talking with eyewitnesses and a lot of emotion that they've shared with you.
Well, you're right about that. I talked with a fisherman who's here, and he saw the helicopter crash and then burst into flames. He got pretty choked up, emotional, talking about the crash and realizing that 2 people lost their lives, and he witnessed that himself. So as you said, the crew was part of a larger crew, the helicopter crew, part of a larger crew working on these transmission lines and on that transmission tower. In fact, the helicopter was landing at times on this side of the river in this grassy area to load up with gear.
First trip they made across, he took 2 workers over and dropped on top of the tower across the river. Then he made 2 or 3 more trips back and forth, carrying gear over to them, dropping them off.
So take a look at this photo of the helicopter that crashed. This shows the helicopter dropping off those workers at the electrical tower on top of it. One of the tasks the crew was doing was placing some of these high visibility balls on the top wires, which are there to alert aircraft to the location of electric lines. And eyewitnesses said the helicopter hit one of those wires. There was a sound of an explosion, and the helicopter started falling out of the sky. The helicopter landed on a barge, and it was up to a nearby towboat to spray water onto the wreckage to put out the fire. An eyewitness describes what he says he saw when he looked up after hearing the helicopter hit the wire.
I just saw pieces of it. It was a white helicopter. I just saw a white ball with smoke with several other shards in the air, and then an immediate explosion when it hit the barge.
It's kind of hard to see, but there is one of those transmission lines that is snapped and dangling down from that tower on that side of the river. On this side of the river, the Illinois side of the river, there is another wire hanging down low. Presumably, that's the wire that was hit by that helicopter. Now, wind was kind of strong a little bit earlier in the day. That may have been a factor. That's what the FAA and NTSB will be considering as they do their investigation, very thorough investigation. Now, coming up at 5, you're going to hear from an eyewitness who said there was one point he was watching what they were doing, and he could see the helicopter looked like it was getting unstable. He'll explain why coming up at 5 o'clock. Now, our John Kipper continues our live coverage from the Missouri side of the river.
Yeah, Russell, I am here on the Missouri side of the river, and the helicopter landed actually on one of the barges behind me that we can see pretty well. And we now know 2 people are dead after police say the workers were working on the power lines just behind me. And one witness that we found says it's something he will never forget.
It was a white helicopter, and when it hit, there was no white helicopter anymore. It was just a fireball.
Now, according to the FAA, the helicopter crashed just after 11 in the morning and 2 people were on board. A spokesperson for Amron says they had a contractor and a subcontractor fixing and replacing tower lighting and marker balls, but we don't yet know the companies involved in that. Now, this happened as Wallace Meyer was guiding a fishing expedition when he and his customers saw the whole thing happen, saying he saw a chopper hovering around the power lines.
When it hit, it was a split second. It didn't wrap up. It didn't do anything. As soon as it touched it, it was just explosion. It was just gone.
Now, authorities have shut down access to the river so they can investigate. And there actually is a power line in the river right now, but police say it's inactive. Now, Corey, we're going to send it back over to you.
All right, John, appreciate that update. Thank you. And an Amron spokesperson releasing a statement today on this tragic accident. That spokesperson saying, quote, "We are saddened about today's tragic incident. Our thoughts and heartfelt condolences are with the victims' families and colleagues. We will cooperate with this investigation," end quote. Now, coming up in our next half hour at 4:30, this is work that has done, it's not very uncommon for Amron contractors or crews to do this type of work. So coming up at 4:30, we're going to show you a story that we've done in the past about this type of work being done, and it is not for the faint of heart. So all of that coming up in about half hour from now. And be sure to stay with us here on air, and you can always get the latest on the First Alert 4 News app. For right now, Cam, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Corey, you bring up a good point. As we've been doing all day, we have been sending updates straight to folks' phones who have the First Alert 4 News app. As we get those developing updates, we'll, of course, send those updates to your phone. Corey, thank you. We'll see you soon.